All right, we are back with another lesson in the tutorial series. This time we're going to work on field dimensions. Now that we got farmlands done, we can finally do field dimensions. You'll see crops growing in your field finally when you boot up the map in game. So let's go ahead and start it. So there is a way of doing field dimensions that I hate, and it is awful. It should not exist. Everything should be done through the info layers. I'm not going to show you that way. Giants, I don't know why I don't know why you do this. How they do set up their field dimensions is you will have to put corners. There'll be 3 corners, but one here, and like one here, and then it'll fill out the rest of the space in between those corners and everything. It'll just assume a 4th corner here, and that'll be how you do field dimensions. But that's for squares. How are you going to do curved fields like that? Right? That's so annoying. And you'd had to, obviously, we talked about a little bit of calculus earlier. You'd have to do a whole number of boxes along a curve in order to get that to work, right? In order to do it that way. I'm not going to teach you that because you're not going to do that. You're absolutely not going to do that. That's the dumbest thing, dumbest method of doing it. I'm not going to teach you it. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time. I'm going to teach you the correct way of doing this, and that is through the field dimensions script. Okay, so let's start by looking at the field dimension script. I got it pulled up here. I'll have it in a folder for you guys. Sorry for all the messy desktop. You are going to send this. You're going to put this in your scripts file. We've done this multiple times, so you should be able to do it easily on your own now. But it's percentage app data percentage. Go to the folder where your Giants editor 8.2.2 is, or in the future game, it'll probably be 9.0 or whatever. Excuse me. And you will put it there. All right. And then you can open up Giants editor, make sure it's in here. Field dimensions with bitmap. We'll go in there and edit that here in a second. Okay. So we've got, we got that set up. Hopefully you will have already done this earlier. I forget in an early lesson if we did put in field dimensions, a normal field dimensions layer, but you will want a field dimensions layer. I'm going to pull that up here. Make sure you have it. All right. Take a little longer there. Okay. I'm going to go to the info layers, and we should have in here, the field or maybe I put it in some other location. Let's go down here first. So I definitely have field dimensions in here, a normal field dimensions. All right, remember we made 2 separate ones, field dimensions 1, field dimensions 2. If you haven't, you're just going to be you're basically copy pasting the farmland line, putting that down here, and then that'll relate to this file ID, which is the path to the GRLE. Right, so let's 214. I just want to match the whole world. There we go. Whole word only field dimensions.png. There you go. So the line will look like that. That's all you need to do. If adding info layers, you should be able to do this super easily. So you're just copying farmlands and creating a field dimensions, but a field dimensions line for the info layers. But you should be able to do that already. I'm pretty sure we did that earlier, but I can't remember. I need to go back and look through my videos. Okay, so we have the field dimension image down here. If you don't have this, just copy the tip call layer or another info layer, paste it in here, rename it, drag it back in here for field dimensions. Okay. I'm going to take, I should warn you, that's for if you're going to paint like we did with farmlands. That's for if you're going to paint these by hand. All right. So I already have all these painted in, but we're going to delete this layer anyways. But if you're going to paint by hand, that's how you're going to do it. But we're not going to do that. We're going to make it where your life is going to be so much easier when I teach you. This is probably the most life-saving tool I'm about to teach you. So we go back to that folder. We're going to go to the cultivator density. We're going to copy that. We're going to go to the GRLE convert. I think this is the cultivator that we did before. I'm going to do it again just to make sure. Okay, saving. Okay, open that in GIMP. Open with GIMP. Okay, then we wait a little half second here. That's fine. I'm going to keep it at 4096 by 4096. The script, you will need to we'll talk about this later, but you'll need to adjust the script accordingly to what size you use. I use the size of the cultivator density. I'm assuming that as you scale that up, I know for 4x's it's kind of a little bit laggy, but I know for sure 16x is going to get a little bit laggy. When you use bigger pixel sizes, like instead of using, like we would normally use 1024 by 1024, we're using 4096 by 4096 here. You're covering more of those curves, right? So your painting is less jagged and it's much more smooth along those curves, but that means it's creating more of those little boxes to cover the curve, right? So thousands and thousands of those little boxes are filling out that curve so that it's telling the game, hey, this is a curved field, right? You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, but as you scale those pixel sizes up, it's going to be covering more and more minute areas of that curve, and you're going to have more and more boxes, and it's going to lag more and more. Okay, so I'm wondering for a 16x map, if there's going to be a limit where you have to keep this pixel size relatively low. But for a 1x 4096 by 4096 performs rather well. Okay, so I'm going to not scale this at all. Remember, if you do decide to scale this down to 1024 by 1024, always posterize down to 2 colors so you get rid of those extra pixels for scaling, and then you would scale it and then value invert. Okay, again, value invert. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to change our bucket fill. Let's make sure we have bucket fill. All right, so we're just going to go just like Farmlands. Field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I'm going to do field 1. I'm going to do a couple of these. 2, just to show you what it looks like. 3, 4, and then, do some wacky fields like, okay, so 5 we'll do like this one. And then 6, we'll do this one. Then maybe 7, this one. Okay, and then I'll make the rest like, the rest will just be 8. That's fine. So we'll go through, do all of these. Make sure they do go on. There we go. Bear with me here. Might just cut this segment out. I don't know. This is such a tedious process. So you're going to do, obviously you're going to be scaling, you're going to go past 8. So I'm just doing this to expedite the process. We do 1 through 7. You'll see the color differences and everything when we boot the info layer. We convert this and then boot the info layer in the map. Speaking of, I should close out a Giants editor because we're going to be changing this. Yep, that's fine, saving it. Now bring back up GIMP here. Almost there, almost there. So yeah, you're going to be doing just different colors for separate fields. Now, if you have, let's say you have fields that are curved and they're like in rows, shoot, what they're called, like terracing. You want it alternating. You could do like, you would alternate the color. So you do, it's hard to describe when I don't have something in front of me, but you'd alternate the colors. So you do 1 2 1 2 on the terracing, so that they the ones line up and the twos fine. So like you know what I mean. So they're painted, they're different crops and everything at different field dimensions. It doesn't matter totally, like if you own the field, then that doesn't matter as much, but for some people it does. And then I'll make we'll do 0 for the background now. So 0. Now, this is different from Farmlands. Farmlands, we made it an actual farmland. We're doing it 0 here because we don't want to paint any field dimensions on that white area. Okay, now we're going to do colors, components, decompose. Again, do not decompose the layers. There we go. It's going to be this first one because this is the red layer. You can kind of see them highlighted a little bit. They do get brighter as you go up in scale in the numbers. I'm going to export this as, okay, now I do need to do this process over again. I need to find the folder. It'll be a little bit quicker than last lesson. Okay, hold on here. Okay. Tutorial map. It's in maps. It's in map DE, and it's going to be field dimensions. Autoed there for me, but I just want it, not the one, just normal field dimensions. There we go. .png. I'm going to export that. Perfect. Okay. Now we'll open this up. All right, we should have just normal. There's normal field dimensions right there. We're gonna delete this old one. Okay, we don't want that. It's the game will prioritize that over a PNG all the time. It prioritizes GDMs and GRLEs over PNGs. So always delete the old one when you're making a new one. Okay, and obviously make sure that we're pointing to a PNG instead of GRLE in the map. I3D in Notepad. It should be, you know, we looked at that earlier, but it absolutely should be. Okay, there we go. And then I should be able to open up the info layers here. And then go to field dimensions and perfect. There we go. So you can see it gets a little bit, it covers most of the field here. Now, as you scale the pixels up, let's say we did 8192 by 8192, it would cover more. It would be much less jagged. It'd be much smoother on these curves. But that smoothness causes lag. So it's a little bit of sacrifice. This works perfectly fine, you know, but if we're working with a, you know, 4x, maybe you want to use this same image size and for, you know, for fields, for a cultivator density, that's 8192 by 8192. Okay, so all painted. It looks like this is good. Yeah, these are all 8, and then, you know, we got a couple here that are different colors, just to show you what it looks like along the curves. That's fine. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is, if everything looks good, we're gonna file save it. It will save as a GRLE, convert that PNG to a GRLE, and then it'll start prioritizing that. And then, okay, this should not take that long. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna create a transform group. I'm going to rename this to fields. Okay, and then we're going to give it a user attribute. So let's make sure we have user attributes open here. Okay, and I got to remember what it's on create. It's an on create, a script callback, and type in on create here. Make sure the spelling's correct. If it's not correct, you're doing it wrong. It will not work. Okay, now we need the game to recognize this transform group where all the boxes are going to be filled in by the script. Instead of us creating those boxes on our own, we need to make sure that the game reads this transform group as that. So field util.onCreate, that's how you do that. Cool. I'm gonna exit out of that, get that out of my face. Okay. Now let's go to Window, Script Editor. Now this is important. Let's go to Field Dimensions with Bitmap. Now we're going to be changing this file path right here. This file path has to be right, or the script is not going to find it. Find where your that image that we painted in GIMP. It's not going to be able to find it. Okay, I can't tell you how many times people have come to me saying, "Hey, this isn't working. The script's not creating any fields." Well, yeah, it's almost always the file path. So check and recheck this. Okay, your file path really up here is what it is. See, you can see users over in Documents, My Games, Farming Simulator 19. It's in the mods folder. It's the tutorial map, so I need to change that here. So this is for Lincoln Creek right now. I'm going to change that. It'll be different for you. Make sure the slashes are going the right way as well. These slashes are going to the right. Okay, make sure they're going the right way. If you copy and paste from this directory right here, if you do this, see how the slashes are going the wrong way? Don't do that. Okay, it's the right file path, but the slashes are going the wrong way. Okay, so tutorial map, maps, map, it should be map DE actually. Yep, map DE. And that is where it's located. Okay, and it might be on the desktop for you. Maybe it's in your mods folder and you're working from that directory. So it's just where this image is located right there. Okay, and that's located right here. Okay, and it's spelled correctly. You know, it's a GRLE because we saved it as a GRLE. Okay, 8 bits. Okay, now this is for a 4x. I was using I think the cultivator density was it 8190? Yeah, it was 8192 by 8192, and I used the field. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and change this to 1024. This for a 1x 1024. Now normally you would do if you did 1024 by 1024 for your image size for your field in here, if you scaled it down to 1024 by 1024, this local factor would just be 1. But since we're using, see up here, 4096 by 4096, which is the same as the cultivator density, that's times 4. Okay, so the factor is 4. All right, there's a little helpful guide down here to tell you, you know, for 4x you want 2048. You know, whatever. This is how you do it. All right. I've messed around with this so much, and there's not a lot of people that know how to use this properly, but this is how you use it. Okay. 1024, local factor of 4. Okay. And now you're going to make sure you have fields selected. You're going to exit. Watch this. It's not going to work. Sure. I'll save it before we continue. And there it goes. You can see that a plus symbol showed up here and it worked. Of course it worked because I know what I'm doing. And okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, all the ones that we painted, and we have an extra one here. This is probably due to, there's a little bit of white here. That's probably the only issue. You just need to go through and delete that. That 250 right here, field 250. So there's just a little leftover unpainted pixels that are, you know, that are in there. You'll need to go and delete those. That's fine. So now I can't see them. You know, I can click on field 1. That's up in the top left corner. I can click on field dimensions, and you see how these are the field dimensions. See how it's covering all of these little squares? See, remember I talked about the 3 corners? All right. So there's a whole bunch of those, right? And I want to see if this works. So I'm going to click on fields. I'm going to click on scripts, map, and then I'm going to toggle render field areas. There we go. Perfect. It worked. Now, if you use the wrong size, all right, I'm going to click off of that because that's making me lag a little bit. If you use the wrong size, these blue boundaries, these highlights will be off, you know, in the distance over there or whatever. It's just not going to be right. Okay, so but these line up with our fields. That means it's correct. Okay, so that's perfect. We have one last step to do though, and this is lagging a whole butt ton right now. So I'm going to save it. Then I'm probably going to exit out of this and come back into it. I'm not sure how to untoggle these fields. I don't know if I had to click it again. Oh my lord, take forever to save. Thank you. Okay, so we have one more step, and that's this name indicator index. Okay, this is a transform group. Be over here. Okay, this is gonna be super laggy because I got so many. It always is. I always need to exit and open it back up to get rid of this, but I'm sure you guys have found a way already. This is the number that shows up on your map. Okay, when you open the map and you look for the field numbers and everything that are on top of these fields, this is the transform group that indicates where that number is located. Okay, the height of this does not matter. What matters is the X and Z. Okay, so you may need to readjust these and move these around. Okay. However, we need to go in and adjust these fields so that this so that it understands where the name indicator index is right here. Okay, so it is located at 1. Let's see. It actually worked this time. It usually doesn't work. I wonder if something. Maybe we don't have to fix this, actually. That's so strange. I always had to fix this. Why is it working now? This is even the script creator tells you to fix this. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do the process. So you need to make sure that when you click on this field, you can see over in user attributes, you see name indicator index. That'll usually show up as 0, I believe, which is incorrect. The name indicator is located at 1 in this transform group, in this hierarchy, right? So instead of we have a few fields here, it wouldn't be difficult just to click on each one of them, go to the user attributes and change this value to 1. Right, but if you're working with 80 fields, you're gonna want to change them all really fast. So I'm gonna export fields. I'm just gonna export it to the textures folder. You can export it anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's not the textures don't matter here. There aren't any textures involved. Go to textures. You're gonna open up fence in the XML. You're gonna wait because Notepad++ takes forever here. Okay, and oh wait, did I open? Not fence. Fields, Michael. Fields. FIELDS, not FENCES. Dummy. This is no, this can't be correct. Oh, yeah, it's correct. Okay. We're going to just do a name search. So this is just for those of you who's not work. I don't know why, I was completely expecting to have to do this step, but I'm just going to type in name indicator index. Okay. And what you would do is you just take this line, you'd copy it, paste it, and then you change this 0 to a 1. So you define what, and then go to replace, change this 1 to a 0 or a, sorry, I apologize. You change this 0 to a 1 down here. Okay. And then you do a replace all. All right. And there's 8 occurrences. There should be 8 because we got 8 fields that we painted. And you do a replace all, and then all of these name indicator indexes will change to 1. That is how then they will move into their proper places on the map. If you do not do that, a lot of times when you don't do that, I don't know why this happens, but all these name indicator indexes will be at 0, 0, 0. So they'll be located wherever the fields, they'll be located right here. Okay. Instead of up there on top of the field, or up there, sorry. Okay. Now you cannot overlap those name indicator indexes with the wrong farmland. So the farmland has to correlate, not numerically, just like if you have farmland that covers this field, like a painted layer for farmland, and then you have this field, this name indicator index, if this is overlapping with the wrong field, so this is field 2, or field 2 over here, and the farmland's covering this, there will be an error, and you won't have the field. I believe what happens, I only have this happen a couple times. It was earlier on No Creek, but I believe what happens is this won't be purchased. Okay, you only get this if you purchase this land, because that's where the field map indicator is, the name indicator is. Okay, that's the problem. So they need to be centered and on your field and not overlapping with any other farmland. Okay, so you're gonna want to go through. The best thing to do, I've found, is just to boot up the game. So say this, boot up the game, and look where those numbers are located. Some of them are going to, there's always like 5 that are just off. They're not centered. You'll just go look them up on your map in game, and you'll just move them and get them centered. So you can control B that, or you can just move with the red and blue arrows and get them placed in the correct location. Okay. But make sure they're not, farmlands aren't overlapping with the name indicators, because that will cause issues. Okay. All right. That's field dimensions. And I'm sorry that we couldn't replicate that error that happens. I wonder if it's only because we did a couple fields. But yeah, that error does happen when you run the script. You will need to export this fields. You'll need to change it in Notepad++, and then you'll need to import it. So you'll need to re-import this i3D that we exported after you've changed it in Notepad++, and then you'll delete this old one. Okay, and that'll be, and then you can run you can toggle the fields again through the map, toggle render fields. Okay, and then see if they're correct, and then check all the placements and everything, and that's it. That's field dimensions. Isn't that, it's so, I'm telling you guys, this is the biggest time saver ever in the game. Okay, there are still console map makers that are not doing this. It frustrates me to no end to have like fields that should be curved that look square, because of this issue. Okay, so I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you guys, I'm not going to teach you the other lesson because it's just the other method of doing this, because it's not worth it. I hope you found it helpful. I'm sure you did. And it's the only time I'm going to say that. I'm sure you found this helpful, because honestly, the other way is awful. So, okay. Let's move on to the next lesson. We're going to get into placeables now. We're going to do animals, and we're going to add grain bins and sell points and buy points, all that good stuff. So, so check to make sure this is all working and everything. And, yeah, we're going to move on. Awesome. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.